guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, it's Thursday, May 16th, and it's 9:42 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to get into some Q-related news because there are no Q posts as of today, but I am expecting tomorrow that we will probably have both Q posts and something significant happen, because it seems that they wait until Fridays to release significant news. I don't know why that is, but it just seems that way to me, because we've all been kind of holding our breaths this week and waiting for something to happen. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Perhaps tomorrow. I hope so. Anyway, and then after that drops, we will probably have some Q posts. It seems like that is the pattern, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm a little bit disheveled tonight. I just got back from, I've been running around in the rain, and also I just got back from my parents' house. I'm full as a tick because she filled me full of mom food, and you know, mom food is the best. It is the best. There's no such thing, or there's nothing that equals or even comes close to mom food. So anyway, that is where I've been, and I did take last night off. I was in a lot of pain with my back, and I do have an appointment tomorrow for a laser treatment, so that usually fixes me up. But as it gets closer to my laser treatment, it's like the pain seems to increase. But anyway, I will be good as new after that, and so I will be posting tomorrow as well. But let's see what we can do tonight. I'd like to be able to do 2 videos, but we'll see. We'll see how my strength goes and how my pain goes, and we'll go from there. And thank you guys. I picked up a couple new Patreon supporters, and some of you toss me a coffee every now and then, and it helps significantly, and I appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Okay, let's get into the news, shall we? And Sammy is right behind me here, so he might be paying us a visit. I'm not sure if he'll grace us with his presence or not. You know, he's a little camera shy, but he's not shy in any other way. All right. So let's dig right in here, because I've got a lot, and I'm probably going to have to do 2 videos tonight. So let's see. We've got a lot of, I'm right near an air base, and there's a lot of activity tonight, a lot. So if you hear anything in the background, that's probably what it is, because I am right beneath the flight path. So all right. Now, AG Barr mocks Pelosi to her face. Madam Speaker, did you bring your handcuffs? Now, this happened yesterday, and I got a kick out of it. I think that AG Barr, yeah, he has cojones of steel, if you ask me. Attorney General William Barr mocked Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to her face at a fallen police officer's memorial gathering in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday, according to a report posted to Twitter by reporters, including Politico's John Bresnahan. Barr and other Trump administration officials have been threatened with arrest for refusing demands by the Democrat-controlled House of Representatives for the unredacted Mueller report and President Trump's tax returns. Pelosi had recently commented about arresting Trump officials and locking them in jail in the Capitol basement. Yeah. And so AG Barr reportedly mocked Speaker Pelosi at an event honoring fallen police officers. Per source, Barr shook hands with Pelosi and said loudly, "Madam Speaker, did you bring your handcuffs?" Pelosi shot back that the House Sergeant at Arms was there if needed for an arrest. Barr laughed and walked away. Now, tonight, right before I was going to come and record this, I read that Pelosi has been arrested, but I could not verify that. And I really even hesitate to bring it because it's not verified. And the source that was reporting it was not a source I was familiar with, even though the rest of their news items seemed like they were correct. I just didn't want a chance bringing that because I don't know if it's true or not. It almost seems a little bit too good to be true. And I'm thinking, if it were true, wouldn't it be on all the, mainstream media news outlets? I don't know, something like that. It probably would be reported on. It would just be reported on in a very twisted way. So I don't know, but I'll stay on top of that. And if I find out for sure, I will let you know. That would be wonderful. She deserves to be arrested. We heard Giuliani talk about filing the articles for her impeachment. So I don't know. And I read in another source, but was unable to verify it, that she showed up to work drunk. Now, I don't know how you would tell the difference between her normal self and her drunk self. Really, I don't. And I'm not trying to be silly here. I'm really not trying to joke about it. But to me, when I see her, sometimes I have a hard time, discerning between, okay, is she drunk, or is this Alzheimer's, or is this some other sort of dementia or what have you? I don't know. But apparently someone said she had shown up to work drunk today and was sent home. Don't know. Again, it was not from a source that I would call a valid source, because I just don't know enough about the source. So again, I'm going to look into that. Maybe some of you guys know. And if you know, if you've heard that and you've heard it from a reliable source, then put it in the description, or put it in the comments below. Just say, yes, I heard that as well. And it's been verified, or what have you. But because I was out for a long time today and then came back and was just reading that, I didn't really have time to do as much research into that as I would have liked to see if it was true or not. My gut says it's probably not, but my heart says, oh, I hope so. So I don't know. I guess that will remain to be seen. Anyway, let's go back and see what other trouble we can get into. And, excuse me, Paul Sperry said, breaking, Maine Justice Department sources say Spygate prosecutor John Durham. Now, of course, that is the prosecutor that we just learned about, not yesterday, but the day before. John Durham is also targeting the CIA and its role in the origins of the Trump-Russia collusion investigation, and that John Brennan's machinations during the 2016 campaign will come into sharper focus. And Wyatt responded to that and said, John O'Brennan's turban just exploded. Get rid of the CIA entirely while you're at it, please and thank you. And I think that there was a post to that effect from Q saying that the CIA was entirely dirty and would have to be dismantled altogether. I remember that. Oh, actually, maybe this is from Praying Medic, and actually maybe this is what this is. Yes, it is. Praying Medic says, wish granted, and he clipped the Q post from November 2017. Now, yeah, this is a while ago. This is when Q was just starting. He had only been going for about a month at that time, and he said, closing act, C in kill brackets, I in kill brackets, A in kill brackets. So I think Q is saying the closing act will be the dismantling of the CIA, and he said impossible to clean. Operations, no such agency. So he may be saying that the NSA will take over the operations that previously have been assigned to the CIA. I don't know. Or maybe he's saying that the NSA is doing ongoing operations into the CIA and what goes into cleaning it. I don't know. The way I read this is that the closing act of all of this will be the dismantling of the CIA, because it's impossible to clean. And the operations now handled by the CIA will be then handled and tasked to the NSA. That's how I read this. So you may read it differently, and that is entirely fine as well, because some of this stuff, future proves past. When it happens, you look back and you go, okay, yeah, that's what he meant by that. So I could be wrong, but I definitely do believe that Q is saying that the CIA will be dismantled because it's impossible to clean. You know, it's like, have you ever, if you've lived in the South, you either you have had them or your neighbors have had them, cockroaches. And I lived in one place where I got cockroaches, and I am impeccably clean. So it was the most embarrassing thing to me ever. And if you have one, you have more than one. And if you can put, set bug bombs off and all that stuff, but if just one survives, that's all it takes. Because if that one is pregnant, you got zillions of cockroaches again. It's the hardest thing to get rid of. They really, really are. And so I think that, that's an analogy of what's happening in the CIA. You can get rid of everyone, but if just one dirty one remains, yeah. So, it's like you can't have just one cockroach. Nobody has just one cockroach. So if you see a cockroach, yeah, you know that there's others you can't see. It's actually, I had never even seen a cockroach until I moved to the South. I never in my life had seen a cockroach. And yeah, just about the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And my gosh, I've taught in the jungle. I've seen creepy crawly things, but there's nothing more horrific to me than a cockroach. I would rather be sweeping tarantulas out of my kitchen, which I did. I'd rather be doing that than have cockroaches. I'm just saying. All right, let's go on. I'll stop chatting now. Now, let's look at this. I'm gonna skip on this tonight, this one particular one, because it has to do with Canadian politics, and right now we've got enough to contend with in the U.S. without me branching into Canada right now. Although it's a mess, it's really a mess. I wish Trump would come and fix up Canada after he's finished with y'all, please. Come on. But then I might not want to leave here and go back to the States. So, that's one of the big reasons I want to go back, is because not only do I love the States and love the people, but it's much better run than Canada is. All right. Now, I want to show you this, and this is very, very important for any of you guys who are on any social media platform and are being discriminated against and censored. Please, please, please report it, because breaking, Trump White House has gone live with a website that allows you to report social media bias. Now, this happened yesterday, and I meant to bring it to you yesterday and would have had I been reporting yesterday. But here's my thing, okay? We've all been complaining about this, just about all of us, because even if you're not doing YouTube videos, and you're just, but you're on other social media like Facebook or YouTube or what have you, and you feel you've been discriminated against based on your opinion, you've been shadow banned, what have you, please report it. Please, because we cannot, the last video I did, I remember saying, I don't understand, because the laws are there against censorship in social media, but they're not being upheld. Well, and I thought, I wish Trump would do something about this. Well, we can't blame Trump for not doing anything if he has provided us a platform by which we can report this, and we don't. Because either we're lazy, we don't have time, it takes 2 minutes. So I'm going to put the link to this website in the description below. All right. So if you feel you have been discriminated in any way on social media because of your views as a conservative, then please take the time to go and fill that out, because it helps us all. It helps us all. You're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for everybody else that is being discriminated against as well. Because the more people that we have that stand up and say, yeah, I was discriminated against. I mean, you know I am on YouTube, definitely, and you can verify that yourselves, because you know that sometimes you can't hit the like button. It won't let you like my videos. It drops people from my subscriber list. And by the way, if you want to be subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed, because they do drop people off my list, and every so often I'll just lose hundreds at a time. And I know that that's not just people getting ticked off with me and leaving. I know that they're actively dropping people, because people have said to me, look, you know what? I was subscribed and then all of a sudden I wasn't. So there you go. And besides being demonetized, that is a form of discrimination as well, because I'm not saying anything that isn't reported elsewhere. I'm certainly not saying anything that's not true. Some of it is my opinion, absolutely. But we do need to report these things happening and use this website, because it has been provided to us. So since 2016, certain media personalities with political leanings anywhere right of center have often found themselves facing a social media firing line. In some cases, those personalities have been demonetized or even banned altogether, even as far left and often radical websites and personalities are allowed to continue to exist without fear of reprisal. And we know that to be so. The Trump White House is now attempting to help remedy the seeming bias within many of the largest social media platforms. They are not pushing for the banning of any left-wing websites, but rather to allow a dynamic and thriving market of free ideas where all sides and views are allowed to exist, and then people can decide for themselves what they choose to read or listen to. Seems reasonable. You can visit the new website here, and I am going to put the link in the description. So it is important, if you have experienced any of this bias, please take a minute, fill this out. It'll help us all. All right, now let's go back to the news here, and let's take a look at this meme here. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you tiny phone people. You know, those smartphones that, oh, for heaven's sakes. First day with the new hands, I guess. I don't know. There we go. There we go. Only the best for you guys. I want to make sure you see it. Okay. The party's over. And I like this. It's Mueller time instead of Miller time. And here's Obama. Time to pay the Barr tab. B-A-R-R. And this is by Ben Garrison. He is very, very gifted at this, very gifted, and has been really proficient at doing memes for, conservatives. All right, and then here's Hillary. Fine wine, lies, and obstruction. And Comey is drinking FBI spy vodka and cover-up whiskey. And Obama here, it looks like he's drinking abuse of power and soft coup brandy. So there you go. And you can see they've had quite a lot to drink there. So they've been drinking up. But absolutely, it's Mueller time. And it's time to pay the Barr tab. And back here we have the fake dossier. This looks like Strzok and Page back here drinking. And this looks like, oh gosh, that looks like Brennan, Clapper, and not sure who that's supposed to be. Rosenstein? Doesn't look like him. Anyway, all right, let's go on. I like this as well. He's got the little Mickey Mouse hat and the Barack Obama. Yeah, we don't really know who he is or what his, well, we do. We know he's Barry Soetoro. Okay. And this by Candace Owen. Have a lot of respect for that young lady. She said, in case you missed it, We have just arrived at a point in society where people believe that protecting an infant's life is barbaric, but allowing women to crush, dismember, and poison a developing body is progressive. And she is absolutely 100% right. Don't know how we got to this place, but yet here we are. And I don't like it any more than you do. In fact, I saw on Twitter tonight some pictures of babies after they had been aborted, and it literally, I don't even know how to describe it and how it makes me feel. I don't even have the words for it. But I guess in my mind, I always thought about abortion as somebody doing it in the really early trimester, and that, you know, it was recognizable, but seeing almost full-term babies and full-term babies aborted will rip your heart out, because I don't know. I just think that those children never had a chance. They never had a chance to live their lives. And what did they ever do? What did they do to deserve being murdered? I don't know. And I think of people like myself who have never had children and would have loved to. You know, I don't know. To me, it's a waste. It's horrible when anyone dies, but a child, an unborn baby, in fact, just so full of potential. It's gut-wrenching. All right. Now, let's take a look at this, because this I find to be a little bit odd, among other things. Now, it says, boom, NXIVM sex cult had Schumer's financial records and Hillary's emails. And look at this picture of Schumer and Hillary, both much, much, much younger. I would not even have recognized Schumer hardly, because he looks much younger. Okay, with prosecutors in the trial of cult leader Keith Raniere planning to introduce evidence on the NXIVM sex cult's deep opposition research files on its political enemies, including Roger Stone, documents from the archives are shedding light on how the sex cult stored data on top politicians, including Chuck Schumer, whom the cult viewed as a friendly ally. I wonder how friendly an ally he really was. According to ex-employee Frank Parlato and Hillary Clinton. The Albany Times Union noted in 2015 a former close confidant of Keith Raniere, founder of the NXIVM Corporation, claims top officials in the secretive organization used a Canadian investigative firm and other means to sift the financial records of 6 federal judges and U.S. Senator Charles E. Schumer. According to court records, the former NXIVM insider Kirsten M. Keefe said the Seagram's heiress Claire W. Bronfman, who oversees NXIVM's operations, ordered the financial probes at the direction of Raniere, 55. The 6 judges whose financial records Keefe alleges were analyzed have all presided over cases involving NXIVM or its perceived adversaries and critics. The allegations by Keefe, 45, are outlined in emails attributed to her that were filed recently in Albany County Court. Keefe broke away from NXIVM in February 2014 and is in hiding, according to correspondence and conversations attributed to her in court records filed in Albany County. So the NXIVM cult has information on Schumer. Interesting. Very interesting, don't you think? I think the fact also that they are saying that he was friendly to their cause. Interesting. These people were probably bribing politicians, don't you think? I sure do. Claire W. Bronfman, an heiress of the Seagram Company business empire, allegedly implanted a keylogger virus on the computer of her late father, Edgar M. Bronfman Sr., so officials with the NXIVM Corporation could secretly monitor his emails, including his exchanges with world leaders and Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, according to court records. The extraordinary allegations are attributed to Kirsten M. Keefe, who was part of the inner circle that ran NXIVM, a human development organization organization, oh, Human Development Corporation, that's rich, that had been described by one expert as an extreme cult. The accusations by Keefe are contained in a transcript of a telephone conversation that took place last March between Keefe and Barbara Boucher, a former NXIVM executive board member who is facing computer trespassing charges in Albany that accuse her and 3 others of improperly accessing the corporation's website. A former NXIVM member testified Monday in the trial of cult leader Keith Raniere that the sex cult illegally raised money for Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign. Big League Politics first reported this bombshell information, which is now confirmed by a witness under oath. The New York Post reports Bronfman funneled thousands of dollars into Clinton campaign coffers, far in excess of legal limits to contributions, to curry favor with the White House political family, according to Mark Vicente, a documentary filmmaker and former member of the NXIVM group that is accused of keeping women as sex slaves. Claire Bronfman approached other people and said she would like to make a campaign contribution, but she couldn't make it above a certain amount. Vicente testified in Brooklyn federal court Monday. I wrote a check. She paid me back. New York Post passage ends. And NXIVM whistleblower Frank Parlato appeared exclusively on the campaign show with Patrick Howley on Patriot Soapbox Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, to discuss Keith Raniere's trial, which begins Tuesday. Raniere's sex slaves are poised to testify against him as prosecutors prepare to submit evidence that NXIVM illegally bundled money for Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign. Parlato made it clear that Clinton was happy to accept the money. I bet she was. When has she ever been not happy to receive money? Parlato described how NXIVM imported teenage girls from Mexico, how the cult viewed Chuck Schumer as a friendly Democrat ally, and many other bombshells. Democrat senator and presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand's family ties to the NXIVM cult are coming to light, raising serious questions about her relationship with the cult that she once denied knowing about. Gillibrand's father and stepmother, who are second cousins, were both heavily involved in the cult in the period shortly before they got married, according to eyewitness accounts from ex-NXIVM employees who spoke on the record to Big League Politics, and according to court documents proving that Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, was employed by NXIVM. Gillibrand's father served as a broker between NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere, whose initials were branded on his sex slaves, and then New York Attorney General Eliot Spitzer to resolve Raniere's financial problem with the state, according to ex-employee whistleblower Joseph O'Hara, whose revelations are printed below. Gillibrand's stepmother, Gwen Belcourt, got hooked on the cult, as did Bill Clinton's close friend, Richard Mays. According to the whistleblower, Nancy Salzman, the NXIVM president, acted as a personal guru for Gillibrand's stepmother. Ex-cult employee Frank Parlato, who exposed the fact that Raniere was branding women, is working with Big League Politics to uncover the deep, long-standing links between Gillibrand, the Clintons, and NXIVM. The first time I ever met Gillibrand, she was at an event for Hillary Clinton in the Hall of Springs in the state park. This was in 2006. I was at a table with a Russian friend and Mike Ruhan and his wife. I was on the Democratic committee at the time and was given 2 complimentary tickets. Gillibrand came up to me, introduced herself, and said she was running against John Sweeney. This was before all the stories of his drunken behavior came out. He was still Congressman kick-ass at that time. I promised my support and wished her well. I then commented to Mike that her baby voice and demeanor I then commented to Mike that with her baby voice and demeanor that she was a lightweight. Boy, was I wrong. But the kicker was when the mixing was over and Clinton went to speak. Gillibrand sat with one of the front tables. The 3 front VIP tables were bought by NXIVM, and she was sitting there with Nancy Salzman. You can quote me on that, said witness John Teague in a statement provided to Big League Politics. Nancy Salzman has pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy, while her daughter, Lauren Salzman, admitted to enslaving a woman, stating in court, I knowingly and intentionally harbored Jane Doe 4, a woman whose identity is known to me, in a room in the home in the Northern District of New York, and threatened to deport Jane Doe 4 back to Mexico if she did not complete labor requested by myself and others. John O'Hara was living in Saratoga Springs at the time, and a woman he met socially ended up calling him out of the blue and asking him to meet with the leaders of NXIVM. I agreed to meet with them. We met the very next day. We had coffee, and that's when I was introduced to Nancy Salzman, the president of NXIVM, and she described to me the various problems they were having, O'Hara said, referring to lawsuits, public relation issues, and government issues stemming from trying to get a building permit for a NXIVM center. I said, give me a day or two, O'Hara said. After I thought about it, I wrote back to them and said, I don't think there's anything I can do personally, but I can play center fielder and pull in people you need. I think you need a bigger law firm on this. Yes, and I can get you a PR firm that can come in and help you. And that's what I proposed to them, that I would be a middleman. They hired me in October of 2003, and I worked for them for 15 months. At the end of 2004, a variety of issues had come up, and I resigned. O'Hara, whose official title was consultant, said he met primarily with Keith Raniere and the bookkeeper, Kathy Russell, and legal liaison, Kristen Keefe. O'Hara remembers Raniere vividly. I thought he was a little strange. He was an odd fellow. Before I met him, I had been told a lot about him. I guess when I met him, I was a little underwhelmed, O'Hara said, referring to a tall tale about how Raniere supposedly tied a record in the 100-yard dash. Raniere held volleyball games with the women in his cult, but O'Hara did not attend. Kirsten Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, acted. He was one of the people I thought of a meeting. Okay, hang on. I had known, Kirsten Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, acted as a broker between NXIVM and then Attorney General Eliot Spitzer. I had known Doug Rutnick for a number of years. He was one of the people I thought of immediately for a couple problems that Raniere had, O'Hara said, including the fact that Raniere agreed to pay a certain amount of money to New York State stemming from the bankruptcy of his previous venture, Consumers Byline. Keith never made the payments. I think it was around $45,000 or $50,000. I contacted Doug and explained to him the situation. Doug could be the broker between Keith and the Attorney General, O'Hara said. The Attorney General was then Eliot Spitzer. Doug and I, Nancy and Keith, had lunch at a little club. Keith came in and looked like a young, middle-aged business executive. Doug said, let's check this out a little further, O'Hara remembers. NXIVM was trying to get a license for a school. The meeting occurred at the Fort Orange Club in Albany in 2004, according to O'Hara. O'Hara hired a third-party attorney in Albany to take a 5-day executive course at NXIVM, and the attorney expressed concerns about the group's potentially not paying taxes and living off the grid. Doug said, I know somebody else I could send in. It's his cousin, Gwen Belcourt. She comes with rave reviews and Doug gets hired. Keith comes up with the money and pays off the Attorney General. Thus, Gillibrand's father acted as the broker between NXIVM and Attorney General Eliot Spitzer. After Gillibrand's future stepmother, Gwen Belcourt, gave NXIVM her full seal of approval. Doug was the one, I don't know who he talked to, but he was the one who got the okay for NXIVM, sent Doug the check, and it was expressly to resolve the issue over Customers Byline, and then the issue went away. Now, there's a lot here, and I don't know how much I should read or if I should. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to this as well for you to continue to read on if you wish. There's a lot of information here, and there's a lot of information coming out about NXIVM, and I think that it is good for us to stay acquainted with it, because I do think that there's going to be a lot coming out about this, and I think that there's going to be a lot of connections here to some very familiar names in government right now. Well, certainly Hillary Clinton, but Chuck Schumer, that's a new one to me, and we don't know who's all involved in this. But I think as time goes on and more testimony comes out, more and more facts come out, I think we're going to see that these people are, tied in pretty closely to some bigwigs in government. And This was no small cult. As I said before, they have connections up in Canada as well, and I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. Although we'll never hear about it up here because if you think the press is bad there, it's 3 times as bad, maybe 5, maybe 10 times as bad here. We don't get the real news. We don't even get a lot of news, doesn't even make the news. So there you go. But I did want to make sure that you are up to date on what is happening with NXIVM because this is ongoing, and I think that really we're just scratching the surface right now. I think that it goes internationally. I think that this cult is like an octopus with tentacles into a lot of different places. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes and where this ends up. There's so much coming out right now, though, and so much breaking that it's getting lost because there's just so much happening with the government and everything going on there that this stuff is getting lost. And I'm sure that's they like it that way, but I think we need to stay on top of this as well. So anyway, let's go back and I will make a note here to, let me see here. Yeah, I'm just going to put a little star here so I'll remember to come back and put that in the description. All right, and here's something from George Papadopoulos. That's right, I said Papadopoulos. The Italian Prime Minister has suddenly requested resignations from 6 deputy directors of Italian intelligence agencies, DIS, AISI, and AISE. This was all after I outed Mishel in Rome, and the president called the Italian Prime Minister. Italy has flipped and are giving up Brennan. Okay. This is freaking huge. I mean, not just huge, it's huge. Yeah, seriously. Think about this. The Italian Prime Minister has requested resignations from 6 deputy directors of Italian intelligence agencies. So that's huge. Okay, that in itself is huge. But the fact that this was after Papadopoulos, that's right, Papadopoulos outed Mifsud, and then our president, that's right, your favorite president and mine, Donald J. Trump, called the Italian Prime Minister. Then suddenly, Italy has flipped and they're giving up Brennan. How do you like that? Oh, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I even like it better than mom food, and you know how good mom food is. All right, so that is a little piece of good news for you tonight, and we've got more. Yes, we do. We have more. More, I said. Now, I'm making this bigger because a few of you have complained that the writing is small and you can't see, and I don't know. I guess some of you want to see the links, and that's all right. Now, I don't remember what this is, but I bet it's something good. Okay. Oh, yes, it's this. It's not only the Minnesota press that is raising questions. We all have serious concerns about this brother-loving, America-hating snake. She is shady as the day is long. Yes, I would agree to that. Let's listen to this. It's 2 minutes and 17 seconds long, but it's worth hearing.
She was married to a different man. She admitted that Hersey was actually only her cultural husband, a term she used to describe marriage that took place in her faith tradition only, not legally before the courts. Omar then admitted that she married another individual, Ahmed Noor Saeed Elmi, on February 12, 2009, and later split with Elmi in 2011, but did not formalize her divorce with him until 2017, after being elected to the Minnesota legislature. Omar then claims that she reconciled with Hersey and had one more child with him, filing for legal marriage only in 2018. Omar rejects all claims that Elmi is her brother, but she's not released any documentation or evidence to clarify the matter. Well, the story first appeared in 2016 during her run, when sources within the Somali community in Minnesota began reaching out to local media stating that she had married her brother in an immigration fraud scheme. In school records first obtained by PJ Media, the story took a disturbing turn. In enrollment records archived by the St. Paul Public School District, and Ahmed N. Elmi attended high school from 2002 to 2003 while living at the same address as Ilhan Omar's father, Noor Saeed Elmi Mohammed. Sources who attended high school referred to Elmi as living with his father, Elmi Mohammed, the same man that Representative Omar has referred to as her father. Omar made a trip to London in 2014. Photos uploaded to Instagram that have since been deleted showed Elmi and Omar together. Screenshots from social media indicate that Elmi lived in Minneapolis until about August 2012 when he moved back to London. Reports also show that Elmi and Omar attended college at North Dakota State University together. Other Instagram posts show Omar and Elmi communicating up until around October 2013. In one post about her children, Omar tells Elmi, "They are so cute. Best uncle you are."
So she's definitely married to her brother, her biological brother. Now, what I didn't understand from this, and perhaps I wasn't listening as closely as I should have, but I don't know if her children are by this man or if this is just her cultural husband. I don't know, but it's definitely her brother because they both in high school listed her father was the same father as this guy, so that would make them brother and sister. At the, I guess best case scenario they could be step brother and sister, but they have the same father, went to the same high school, lived in the same residence growing up. Yeah, it's her brother. So not, to me, she committed immigration fraud. And I think she needs to be called out. I think she needs to pay the piper. I can't not imagine. I mean, my brother has passed away and I don't have any other siblings, but I loved my brother deeply, but I couldn't imagine marrying him. That would just be ew. Anyway, let's go back because there's more. There's always more. And let's see. Oh, yes. And the FBI has cleared Michael Flynn. Here's another good piece of news. FBI clears Michael Flynn in probe linking him to Russia. This, according to the New York Post. The FBI has reviewed intercepted phone calls between National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the Russian ambassador to the U.S. and has found no evidence of wrongdoing. It was revealed Monday. The calls were made in late December and picked up as part of a routine electronic surveillance of Russian officials. They did not reveal any illicit ties between Flynn and Russia, according to the Washington Post. The review of the calls was part of a wider probe into Russia's interference in the presidential election and hacking of the Democratic National Convention. So Flynn has been cleared. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Now, whether he is now clear of everything, because I think they got him on lying to the FBI, which was a process crime. He had not committed any crime. He had not colluded with the Russians. There were no ties between him and Russia. But I guess because he couldn't remember the day something happened, this is what I understand anyway, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he was charged, and it was like a process crime because he committed a crime, they said, in the process of them investigating another crime, which never happened. There was no crime because there was no collusion with Russia. Nobody colluded with Russia. So anyway, all right, let's go back. No, really, let's. All right, and this by Bud. The media, and he is responding to, oh gosh, I don't know, Maxine Waters. He is responding to Maxine Waters, who said, 90% of the calls and mail I'm receiving in my office support impeachment of Trump, and so do I. Dems divided. The impeachment resolution must start with and be taken up by the Judiciary Committee. Representative Nadler is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Now, Bud, I don't know who this is, but I sure like his reply. He said, the media polls liberals and the results are weighted in the Democrats' favor. 90% of customers in a muffler shop are there for mufflers, so pay attention, you dingbat. 90% of the lunatics who would contact you are as crazy as you are. That is so true. I love that. You know, you go to a muffler shop and yeah, 90% of the people there were probably there for mufflers, you know, or to use the washroom. I don't know. But anyway, like, hello, anybody that would call Maxine Waters or contact her is obviously a Democrat and agrees with her. Otherwise, they wouldn't call her. Hello. I love that. So pay attention, you dingbat. 90% of the lunatics who would contact you are as crazy as you are. Love it. I need to go and follow him, whoever he is. All right. Now, I think I'm going to stop there, but I'm going to come back. No, really, I am, because I have some things that I want to talk about in regards to Isaac Kappy and his death. His death, I am convinced, was not suicide. Now, you can argue with that, but I just don't think it was. And the further I look into this, the more I am convinced that this man did not commit suicide. I think he was under duress. So let's break here, and I'll get this uploaded, and I will be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, if I can find a lamb. And if I can't, I'll still be back. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking truth, because you got it. Deception bites.